Yeah, the other thing we saw yesterday in qualifying, that big slide by Eric Cattell in turn 14, we thought that there had been some sort of failure or ABS issue or something, because he has now his Integra Type R ABS installed in that car. But nope, his foot just slipped off the brake pedal, and that happens to the best of them, Kevin. So he put some more grip tape on it today. Hopefully it'll help that. But, just a mistake, and that can happen to anybody in the field. Eric Cattell is a past champion of this series, likely could have driven to a championship last year if the car had really allowed him to. He fought things all season long. Once we got to Road America, had an accident at Road America, then there was a little electrical things at Lime Rock that never really came back together. So the prep before the weekend, testing, Eric Cattell, when he was sorting out those testing problems, had Tom O'Gorman drive that car at a small oval track local to them, just doing laps after laps after lap to see what the sensor problem was. So the prep before the weekend is as important as during the weekend as well.
Good morning from False Grid. I am standing in front of an entire fleet of grassroots drivers. But they're not just grassroots drivers, guys. These are the drivers of the GLTC class here at GridLife. This class started back in 2019, and it was GridLife's first wheel-to-wheel competition series. We are backed by some drivers that may or may not have had a professional career, but they're working their way up to it now. They're sponsored, they're fast, they're competitive, but they're all friends at the end of the day, and that's really what GridLife is all about. They're ready to race. We're here on Saturday. We could not ask for better weather, and these guys take this really seriously. So I hope that you enjoy the show, enjoy the competition, and stay tuned for more. Back to you guys.
Let's run through your starting lineup. On the front row, it's Matan Rosenberg in the number 484, Falcon and Eibach sponsored Chevrolet C5 Corvette. Similar machine alongside him, Christian Aranja in the number 57. Then it's Eric Magnuson in the 330 alongside him. Eric Cattell in the 82 starts in fourth. Then it's Eric Jensen in the number 184 starting in fifth. Here we go, Eibach GridLife Touring Cup action from Carolina Motorsports Park. The first race of the season is underway, and we're green flag racing in Eibach GLTC. 3 wide in the midfield on the run down to turn number 1. Matan Rosenberg edges ahead of Christian Aranja, but they're side by side through 1, Kevin.
Almost 4 wide at one point, and I see everybody coming through cleanly. This is exactly what we're hoping for. We want to just have good, clean racing, and it can all be lost in that first turn. It's amazing to see that done professionally.
Beautifully done for the entire field. Now they head up to turn number 4. Rosenberg leads the way. Cattell has muscled his way to second. Aranja's down a couple of spots now, getting just absolutely hounded by Nick Beto now. Giraldo side by side with Zane. Those two battled on such equal footing at Midwest Festival last year. They raced side by side for an entire lap. But how long will they be able to do that for here at this racetrack?
Struggle a little bit through that final turn.
Battle for the lead now. Eric Catil has run down Rosenberg for that top spot. It's going to get tight here in just a moment's time. He just ran the best lap of the race. Catil did. So Rosenberg is going to be on the hind foot here. Much heavier car. Catil has actually gone down in power level a bit from previous seasons, but here it is. Battle for the lead between the two Eibach cars at Hybridracing EG in second place, all over Rosenberg for the top spot.
These drivers have so much respect for each other. They drive so clean, but it doesn't mean that it's not an aggressive, tight battle. We're going to see this fought out maybe through the entire race, or maybe Catil to make some move here. He's showing that he is in place coming through 8.
These two are on the opposite extremes of what's capable and possible in GridLife Touring Cup. And onto the back straightaway now. 2,500 pounds in that Honda Civic and what, 3,800 in the Corvette ahead of him. So over 1,000-pound difference between these two cars, and well over 70 horsepower difference between them as well.
You see such similar pace out of that. That's what's so cool about this series. You can take different formulas and still make that work. Oh, and here we come into the twist bits right on his bumper. Let's see if Catil can capitalize.
Yeah, into turn 12 now. That was really, really tight stuff there for Catil. Sweeping all over Rosenberg. He's going to try to poke the nose to the inside here and get the run down towards turn 14. We're side by side for the lead.
Oh, it is absolutely neck and neck, and the next turn is a right-hander, which gives Catil the advantage. Wide into the rubber for Motul. He is just behind, but can he hold on to it and drag race all the way to turn 1 and get that advantage back?
Little brake check there just to make sure that they've got pressure on the brakes, but Catil leads into turn 1, takes the top spot away from Motul Rosenberg. Nicely done, fair, clean pass, and now he's going to try to set the pace like he did last year. But note also the purple on the timing and scoring. Eric Magnussen just ran the best lap of the race.
Exactly. The harder they fight, the more opportunity they give to Magnussen to come up and take it potentially from both of them. So he's certainly not out of the running, and the more they battle, the more opportunity that Magnussen sees ahead of him.
Yeah, that was nicely done, but can Catil hold off Rosenberg? We saw Motul so quick in qualifying yesterday. He's not done yet. He'll have the slipstream here and the torque leaving turn 7, but Catil gapped him there, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And talking to talking to Rosenberg before, he was saying that tire management is going to be a big thing for this weekend. So he knows the long game, right? He's after the entire weekend. Doing the biggest battle he can in the first few laps may not be the strategy that wins him the race. He could just sit back here and wait for the perfect opportunity to strike.
Well, the lead change has happened now. Catil leaving Rosenberg a couple of tenths in the rear view at this point, but Eric Magnussen is looking a little bit bigger in the mirror. Look at Rosenberg closing on the brakes, though. That was a huge gain there. But this is where Catil's car I'd expect to be a little bit better. Riding the rim here of this turn 12 and 13 complex, and you see the gap just extend as he gets back to the power.
It's clear where the advantages are for car by car, but on this straightaway, with all that weight comes the ability to have the most horsepower, and that's a really slick car too, a small frontal area. Motul Rosenberg can really start to close the gap on the straightaways.
So leaving turn 14, as we complete our 4th lap here, Catil leads the way. Does anybody retake the best lap of the session so far? Catil goes back to the point with that and has an 0.8 of a second advantage over Rosenberg. Now Magnussen in 3rd. He's dropped a little ways at the tail end of that lap. Then Eric Jensen 4th, Christian Aranja 5th. He stabilized his fall. Then Barbados, Zhang, Mendes, Geraldo, and Tyson, the rest of your top 10 so far. Are we done with this lead battle, though? I mean, it seems like Catil is stretching this gap, but is Rosenberg going to find some pace at the tail end of the race?
We certainly can't count that out. Catil being up front and running the fastest lap, I mean, that's the hardest thing to come back from. But if we're going to see anybody do it, Rosenberg knows he's got the car, he knows he's got the strategy, and he's got that straight line pace, so he's able to close it in lap after lap.
Catil into turn 8, jumps the curb there, and looks nice and tidy. Remember, he won 3 of the 4 races here last year. And the only reason he didn't win race 4 is because we do an invert here. So the other thing to consider, there's been a slight format change for 2025 with Eibach GLTC. Usually race 2 is the one set by lap time. Now it's going to be race 3 that's set by lap time. Race 2 is the one that's going to be set by the finishing order of the first race. So a little lap traffic there, a little tight quarters on course. See the blue flag waving. That car trying to stay out of the way. flag. You see it's the last lap. Catil leads by 4 seconds. And we'll begin our final 2.2 mile trek around here in South Carolina. The 79 Rolly Riardi. Here comes Eric Catil, and just like he did last year, is going to dominate race 1 here at Eibach GLTC. Eric Catil brings the Vario Civic back to victory lane at GridLife, South Carolina. And he'll start off his season with 25 points in the win column. Matan Rosenberg, second place in the 484. Here's a look at your race results for Eibach GLTC. Race number 1, Eric Catil. 9-lap race, led by 6 seconds by the end. Absolutely dominant there. Then Matan Rosenberg, Eric Magnussen, Eric Jensen, Christian Aranja, then Barbados Zeng.
I feel like I've been living on this dyno. I feel like I might as well make my paddock on the dyno.
That's it. I think we're good, guys. Race 1, P1. Let's go. What do you think, bud? Happy with that P1? He's pumped. I'm pumped. P1, race 1, first race of the season. Starting out strong, just like I did last year. Let's just keep up that momentum. The car, guys, the car is phenomenal. The ABS, incredible. The softer springs with the bump stops, so good. Hitting all these curbs, no issues. You know, it's compliant. It's like easy to place where I want it to. I ran the fastest lap on the last lap. I'm keeping these tires nice and happy too, which is really important in these sprint races on street tires. 40.8. That is a full second faster than I went last year. So the car is on rails right now. It's good. Power's right where I want it to be, about 198. I've been on the dyno 4 times this weekend. The first time was to just check what my horsepower was. Then I got compliance dynoed after quali, and it read really low, which is weird. So then before race 1 this morning, I went back on the dyno for the 3rd time to recheck it, and it was good. So, and then I won race 1, so they put me back on the dyno, and I made 197.8. So it's consistent. Hopefully that's the last time I go on the freaking dyno, but the car is just so good. You know, we're running a big safety margin with the weight. It's pretty complicated, but there's like an engine table now. So if I'm above 200 horsepower, I have to take an extra 3%. So I have to cover having enough power and then also having an extra 3%. So I'm running about 100 pounds heavy after these races, but I'm so pumped about that race. The start of the race was pretty sketchy. The yellow vet, he went to shift up in like turn 3 or 4, and instead of hitting the clutch, he hit the brake pedal right in front of me, so that was kind of scary. So I had to kind of squeeze into a gap next to Eric Magnussen. Luckily, made it through there without any issues. And after that, I was just hunting down Matan, and we got it done in a few laps. You know, I was killing him in the back section of the track. And then, yeah, just kept on driving away from him, and then finished first with a pretty decent gap, and also got a killer lap time on the last lap. The car is awesome. The only issue I had that last race was an axle boot. Looks like my clamp just came undone, but looks like the boot's fine, so just got to reclamp it. So that's really the only thing I got to fix before race 2, and I'll just check over the car, but everything has been going great so far. Yesterday was a rough day, but hopefully today it's starting out good, and hopefully kind of keep it that way. So anyway, let's get to work, fix that axle, get it back in the car, and then just take everything over.
Welcome back to CMP. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Kevin Bandy for the second race of the weekend for Eibach GridLife Touring Cup Championship. Well, we had race 1 earlier today, and boy, was it thrilling with a pass for the lead. Eric Catil went on to win, and we gridded up this race up by the finishing order of race number 1. All right, let's run through a grid order here for Eibach GLTC race number 2. On the front row, it's Eric Catil and Matan Rosenberg in the 82 and 484. Civic versus Corvette there. Then row 2, it's a LS M3. It's Eric Magnussen and Eric Jensen alongside each other. Christian Aranja and Nicholas Barbado share row number 3. So it's time to go racing again with a lot of V8 power up front surrounding the 4-cylinder of Eric Catil in that 1992 Honda Civic EG. Time to go racing once again from Carolina Motorsports Park and GridLife, South Carolina. Race 2, round 1. We're underway once again. The green flag's in the air.
Everybody's staying just in lane, just trying to get there, get through turn 1 safely. We see everybody side by side, nice clean racing. Everyone's just trying to wait it out and then get that opportunity to strike as we move through these first turns.
Yeah, nicely done once again through turn 1. The entire field navigates that portion very, very tidily. Up to turn 4 now. This is where things tighten up a bit. You have those right-hand corners, but it's Catil leading Rosenberg. Jensen's past Magnussen here for 3rd place. Barbado trying to go the long way around, and then Aranja down again on the start, just getting swarmed by the drivers with a little more experience.
Carlos Mendez is putting his position in there and just trying to move up with the front of the pack as well. And you see some more moves up there.
Yeah, Christian Aranja now side by side with Mendez. Just trying to get some overlap here on the run down to turn 8. Justin Lee pops out on Barbado, but doesn't have enough to get down there. Marchev under fire. Sorry, Kevin.
Yeah, you see Peter Zeng right behind, just frothing at the mouth, trying to get that opportunity while those battle ahead of him.
Ian Balestra also door-to-door there for a moment on the run to turn 8, but Catil has just lit the afterburners. He's long gone for the top spot.
Huge gap there, and you see that battle has pulled away a big gap in the middle of the front field as well.
seems that Cattell has got his car absolutely dialed today.
And you can really tell that it's just a let's run clean, let's conserve our tires kind of attitude at the front of the field. They just want to hold their positions. Build the right strategy around that tire, get the most out of it.
Yeah, but Cattell is just a distant view right now. He's just absolutely running away.
If you get into some kind of a lazy mental state, it's hard to determine, am I pulling back a second lap or am I pulling back 4 seconds a lap? And that's a whole different game and could be enough that you completely fall out.
Yeah, so, well, Cattell is just a lonely, I mean, we don't see leads like this in GLTC very often anymore.
We really don't.
I can't remember a lead that big.
That's huge. And we have some modifiers in here that go after Corvettes and benefit light cars in some way, although he's not quite as light.
But he's the only light car in the top 10, really.
Absolutely.
Other than maybe Justin Lee, right? So he's sort of an outlier. He always has been, right? He's always found extra performance, and there's so much done to this Honda Civic. It is far, far, far from stock.
I don't know if it's fair to say, but it might be fair to say that there's more development in that car than the rest of the field. He's certainly been with us for a long time, and he's had that car for even longer, and he's been continually working.
Well, so he had the EG hatch until 2021 that he crashed at Road America, but the chassis is developed.
Right.
He knows, I mean, he's shared parts with the previous car, engines with the previous car, so he's done so much work on this through the offseason. And if you follow his Instagram accounts at Eric Cattell Racing, a lot of times he'll basically debrief and digest all the changes in the suspension that he does, and he's to the a level that I don't think anyone else is doing. Camber, caster, bump steer, all these things he's got recorded in a Google sheet, and it all updates automatically when he makes a setup change. He's got different setups for qualifying versus the race. It's incredible attention to detail, and when it all goes right, you get dominance like this.
Absolutely.
Seconds on the field. He just ran a 141.335. I'm pretty sure that is at least a race lap record for Eric Cattell. So he's running track record pace out front right now. And as far as Cattell's lap times, I mentioned, track record pace. He just ran a 142.6. This is right on pace with what we'd expect. It's, the rest of the field is down a little bit from what we typically expect in the mid 44s. And it's a challenging racetrack to overtake on, but I'm still surprised that Cattell has been able to put that much gap on everybody.
It's incredible, and he's even got more in it. From race 1, he ran a 140.88. So there is so much pace in that car, and he's just run away with it.
Caught lap traffic already in a 15-minute race. And the other thing to mention is that this car was on the dyno post-race 1. So this car is legal as far as power is concerned. It was just tested earlier today, but this is just when a driver has figured out their equipment and the drivers behind are battling, this is the kind of result you're going to get. I mean, he has put in a lot of work to get to this point.
You can absolutely tell. He came around me when I was lap traffic at Road America, and I just watched him maneuver through cars, and it was incredible to see how flat that car is and how well he can pilot it.
On the back straightaway now. He's got nobody in the rearview mirror. Look, I mean, that's the
lap traffic.
That's the lap
There's still
traffic.
nobody who's taken a turn at 8.
I don't know that I've ever seen a race in modern, I say modern, GLTC's been around for 6 or 7 years now, but since the opening season, I don't think I've ever seen a dominant performance like this.
This is wild, yeah.
Wild and dialed. I mean,
that's exactly right.
And this car, remember this car in qualifying went slide through the gravel track on Friday. I mean, it just went sailing through the dirt.
And then between practices, he swapped engines in that car. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. flag. It is the last lap of the race. I think it's a mercy white flag for everyone else. But it still crossed the line. How many seconds ago from Rosenberg? Make that gap. It was 11 seconds. Make it 14 now. Driver like him to go through the season he had where every round something went wrong. It is a rare day that everything goes as right as it just did. I have not seen a gap like this in 5 years in Eibach GridLife Touring Cup, but Eric Catil absolutely demolishes the field here. Checkered flag, race number 2 for Eibach GLTC goes decidingly to Eric Catil in the Hybridracing EG, and everybody else fighting for second.
No question there. He's in a league of his own today. Hand out the window number 1, and here is that final move for Matan to lock it in. Jensen behind, then Eric Magnussen and Cathers.
So he's got a little celebratory flashers on too.
I love it. Waving to everybody.
I mean,
left and right, I love it.
There will be questions, but they will be answered on the dyno post-race.
Absolutely. We'll know for sure.
But again, the thing about the engine power is, like, I don't see anything out of this car that looked unreasonable. The lap times, given the conditions, seemed totally reasonable to me. It was everybody else that I thought was a little off.
Agreed.
But again, he's the outlier here. Is he also out of fuel? He looks like he's real slow there, but just letting the field catch up.
I think he's just soaking it in. After all the things that went wrong last season, to have such a fantastic drive in this race and that clear win, that's got to be a great feeling.
Checkered flag for race number 2. Eric Catil gets it done here at Carolina Motorsports Park at Eibach GridLife Touring Cup. Matan Rosenberg, 2nd place. Eric Jensen in 3rd, Eric Magnussen 4th, and Nick Barbado in 5th.
Great race, brother. Thanks, man.
He had a 44.6 on one of those laps. And
Yeah, I don't know.
43s.
Dude, I was like, where the fuck did they all go?
And I like started panicking. I'm like, is it full course yellow?
Right,
I'm
dude,
like,
that's what I thought.
Yeah. And I like messaged Mitch.
I saw a bunch of smoke.
I was like, is something going on back there? He's like, shut the fuck up and keep driving.
Yeah. Dude, I saw a bunch of smoke on the straight, and then like one of the 2 brake marker was gone. So like, I don't know what happened,
Like
but
over here.
yeah, like the big brake zone.
Pretty good day. 2 races today, 2 wins. I haven't really updated you guys much today, but it's been going great. Just checking over the car after every session, and everything has been great. The only issue I had really today was the axle boot coming off. It seems like I just didn't tighten the clamp enough on the outer joint, so the boot just kind of came off. But that was a pretty easy fix. And then during the whole engine swap, I think I might have I forgot to tighten one of the bolts on the thermostat housing, so a little coolant came out. But pretty minor issues today, which is freaking awesome because Friday was a bit of a mess. But yeah, going into tomorrow, we got 2 races tomorrow. So starting on pole for race 3, and then after race 3, the finishing position of that race will determine the starting position of race 4. But there will be a random invert as always. So race 4 will be interesting. But not really worried about race 4 just yet. First, we got to get through race 3, and the car's good. It's fast. Hoping to maybe get a clean sweep, because last year we got 3 wins, and hopefully this year we can improve on that. But yeah, it's the car's freaking great. The Kumos are awesome. You just can go hard the whole race. And I think a lot of the competitors this year switched to the new Falcon RT660 Plus. I think that's what it is. And, you know, it takes a little bit to get used to a new tire. So I think that's kind of what is causing Matan to struggle quite a bit. Because normally I think he's a lot quicker. And I think he's having a hard time trying to get that car dialed into that tire. And I know he's also going to be adjusting power to weight tonight, trying to run maybe a little bit less power, a little bit less weight, because his car is almost 1,000 pounds heavier than my car, which is kind of wild considering we're racing in the same class. 1,000 pounds extra weight on his Corvette, but he also has about maybe 50 more horsepower, right? So it's interesting how it's balanced, but overall, I'm very pleased with my driving today. I kind of got spooked a little bit on Friday when I went off in qualifying. It was honestly very scary, and it makes you realize how dangerous this sport is, because a simple mistake like that, you know, can shoot you off track and can cause you to completely wreck your car. Luckily, the sand pit saved me. Yeah, like I was thinking back about it today, because, you know, my foot slipped off the brake pedal and I went full throttle. Basically, my foot slipped off the brake pedal and then just went directly onto throttle. And, you know, you kind of think that you would have the mental capacity to kind of realize what is going on in the heat of the moment, but my brain was just like so shocked as to what was happening in the situation that I think I just instinctively pressed harder with my foot on the throttle, because I just thought it was the brake, or I don't know what I was thinking. You know, it all happened so fast, and, you know, I should have realized that I was accelerating and not braking, but like I said, man, stuff happens quick and it's hard to react in those situations when your like mind is racing and your heart's going crazy. But, you know, luckily I chucked it sideways and went sideways into the gravel trap to really slow me down. If I went head on, I don't think I would have slowed down as quick. But anyway, that was then. This is now. Today was a great day. Very minimal effort, but after every session, checking the car over, it's been good. And then tomorrow, 2 more races. So I'm off to bed. It's almost midnight, and car's ready to go. Got to get rest up and have a good 2 races tomorrow. 1 more day left.